Careful with that Bordeaux. You couldn't buy it if you tried. The insult sliced through the polished buzz of the Manhattan dining room, cold and deliberate, spat from the VIP corner where a man in a flawless suit lounged with arrogance. To the elite scattered beneath chandeliers and crystal light, the young waitress barely existed. She was just another shadow, gliding through their kingdom of silver spoons and champagne. Unseen, unvalued, her name was Anna Carter, though none of them bothered to ask. To them she was invisible, just the help. Her black uniform bore a faint crease, her dark hair pulled tight into a no-nonsense ponytail. No lipstick, no jewelry, only a quiet kind of beauty, the kind that never begged for notice. Moments later, chaos tore through the gilded doors as three masked men stormed in with guns raised. The crowd collapsed to the floor in terror, but Anna remained upright, unshaken, still as stone. In only 15 seconds, all three were on the ground, dropped with strikes so swift and calculated they exposed a past no one in that room could have imagined. Navy Special Forces. A billionaire at the far table froze, his jaw slack, watching disbelief ripple through the silent hall. Their judgment of her cracked wide open. Anna was 25, her face carrying the kind of familiarity that lingers, like someone you'd met in another lifetime. Not polished, not glittering, just real. Her hazel eyes cut through the room, reading people without effort. Every motion had intention, measured steps, steady hands, even when balancing a tray stacked high with fragile glass. Lycia wasn't just a restaurant, it was a fortress of privilege, where chandeliers shimmered like frozen rain and the air lingered with truffle oil and quiet arrogance. Guests didn't simply eat here, they staged their laughter, their glass clinks, as rituals of wealth and dominance. Anna never belonged in their gaze. Her scuffed flats, her bare face, her silence, each marked her as less. What they never knew, she'd grown up in their same rarefied world, daughter of a family that owned half the skyline, trained to carry herself with poise and restraint. But Anna chose to leave it all, trading glitter for simplicity. In each shift, she bore the cost. 7 months at Lycia, always the late shifts, where tips were rich but cruelty sharper. Her co-workers liked her because she avoided drama, clearing tables without complaint, listening to insults without reply. It wasn't submission, it was discipline. Anna had survived stakes where hesitation meant death, not wounded pride. She chose her battles, and the preening guests with their handbags and hollow insults were never worth her fire. That night carried a strange weight, like the room itself was bracing for something unseen. The VIP corner was louder than usual, their voices spilling over the soft jazz threading through the air. Anna weaved between tables, tray steady, expression blank. But her eyes missed nothing. The man who'd mocked her earlier was Richard Vance, mid-50s, slicked-back gray hair gleaming, a gold Rolex flashing every time he lifted his hand. A hedge fund shark, the type who treated market crashes like personality quirks. Beside him sat Candace, his wife, her crimson dress clinging tight, lips lacquered, her smile as sharp as broken glass. She was the kind to compliment your shoes, while reminding you they were cheap. Across from them lounged Derek, a 30-something crypto hotshot with a winter tan too perfect for New York, and his girlfriend Lauren, blonde streaks and diamonds announcing her new money loud. Together they were the worst kind of table. Entitled, brash, always searching for prey. Anna was their chosen target. Approaching with a fresh bottle of wine, Anna met Richard's raised glass. He squinted at it like a jeweler appraising a fake stone. "Missed a spot," he said, tapping at an invisible smear. "Guess they don't teach cleaning in whatever swamp you crawled from." Laughter erupted, Candace's giggle sharpest. Anna paused, fingertips brushing the bottle's neck, then set it down with a soft clink. "I'll bring you a clean one," she replied, voice level, eyes calm. Turning away, she caught Lauren whispering to Derek, loud enough to sting. "She's got no class. Probably only seen places like this with a mop in her hand. Anna's stride never broke, but her knuckles whitened on the tray's rim for a fleeting second. Her manager, Greg, was no refuge. A wiry man perpetually damp with sweat, always circling to appease the wealthy. He snagged Anna's elbow near the kitchen. "Stay clear of the billionaire's table. He doesn't need you stumbling into him." He jerked his chin toward the far corner, where James Colton sat alone. Colton, 35, lean, dark-haired, eyes sharp as cut steel. His suit understated, yet every detail screamed wealth. He had that magnetic presence people noticed without meaning to. He scrolled absently through his phone, but his glance flicked to Anna for half a second. She gave a brief nod. "Understood," she said, her tone flat. No argument, no explanation. She kept moving. Before chaos struck, there was a pause, a quiet moment that carried weight. Refilling a pitcher at the bar, Anna's eyes lingered on a photo tucked into her apron pocket. A younger Anna, fatigues dusty, standing with soldiers in a courtyard. Mike, the bartender, caught her staring. "Family?" he asked, polishing a glass. She slipped it away, unreadable. "Something like that," she said, turning back to her work. Mike didn't pry. Nobody ever did. Anna didn't invite questions, and few cared enough to ask. But not everyone left her alone. Jenna, the hostess, 22, sharp-tongued, always pandering to the rich, caught her at the bar later. Twirling a strand of hair, eyes gleaming with malice, she said, "You know, Anna, you should smile more. Nobody wants." A gloomy waitress dragging down a $500 dinner. Her voice carried just enough to turn heads. Anna set the pitcher down slowly, movements deliberate. "I'm here to work, not entertain," she answered, calm but firm. Jenna smirked, unbothered. "Yeah? Maybe if you tried harder, you wouldn't look like you just crawled out of a shelter." A couple nearby snickered. Anna's fingers tightened briefly on the pitcher's handle. Then she released, walking away without a word. Quick pause. While this story sinks in, grab your phone and tap that like button. Drop a comment about a time you were judged unfairly, made to feel small. It keeps this channel alive, sharing stories like Anna's for those who've lived it. And don't forget to subscribe. It's a small click, but it means we can keep telling truths that matter. Now, let's return to that night. The restaurant buzzed with its usual cocktail of arrogance and wine when the doors suddenly slammed open. 3 masked men stormed inside, boots pounding on polished floors, guns raised high. "Everyone down!" the leader roared, his voice raw from years of smoke. Chaos erupted. Glass shattered as patrons dove beneath tables, their designer clothes dragging through spilled wine. Richard Vance yanked Candace to the floor, his Rolex snagging the tablecloth with a rip. Candace cried out, clutching her purse like salvation. Derek dropped to his knees, stammering, "Take it! Take anything. Just don't shoot." Lauren's sobs were loud, mascara streaking down her face. James Colton froze, pale, fumbling off his watch and ring to surrender. At the center stood Anna, tray of empty glasses in hand. She didn't scream, didn't flinch. Her eyes scanned them, 1, 2, 3, like exits on a map. The leader, stocky with a scar carved above his brow, spotted her. He stormed forward, gun leveled at her chest. "What's wrong with you? Get down!" he barked, voice echoing off the walls. His partners prowled, waving weapons, barking for wallets and jewels. At a nearby table, a pearl-clutching woman whispered, "She's insane. Why isn't she moving?" Anna's grip on the tray stayed steady, her breathing unnervingly calm. The leader stepped closer, pressing the barrel inches from her forehead. "Deaf? Kneel!" A velvet-clad woman hissed from under a table, venom in her tone. "She's going to ruin this for all of us." Her manicured nails dug into her husband's sleeve. "Why can't she just listen?" The man, bald with a silk tie, whispered sharp, "She's nobody. She's about to get shot." Anna's expression never shifted, but her fingers slid slightly on the tray's rim. The tension thickened, every glare burning into her. Richard Vance, trembling beneath his table, spat through clenched teeth. "Don't be stupid. He'll kill you." Panic twisted Candace's face as she shrieked, "You'll get us all killed!" Derek muttered from the floor, "Don't drag us down with you, idiot." Lauren's whimper sliced through. "She's nobody. Why is she pretending she's something?" The room became a storm, fear and contempt swirling, every judgment piled onto Anna. They didn't want her to stand. They wanted her to break, to prove she was as small as they had always believed. Anna didn't bend. She drew in a slow, steady breath, eyes locked on the leaders. In one seamless motion, she shifted her weight, sliding just beyond the gun's line. Before he blinked, her hand clamped his wrist, twisting until the weapon clattered to the floor. Her elbow cracked against his jaw, and he collapsed like dead weight. The tray in her other hand never wavered. She set it gently on a nearby table, her precision casual, like she was clearing dishes. A sharp gasp rippled through the crowd, a stunned chorus of "What just happened?" The remaining two robbers froze, guns still raised, but hesitation cracked their bravado. Anna stood calm, posture loose but coiled, eyes fixed steady. From under a table, Tony, the young waiter who'd always shared tips with her, crawled out, face ashen. "Anna, stop," he whispered hoarsely. "You're making it worse." Barely 20, his nervous hands tugged at his collar, eyes pleading, "Please, get down. You're not a cop." Guest nodded, murmurs swelling. "He's right," muttered a man in a tux. "She's out of control." Anna's gaze flicked to Tony, unreadable before returning to the gunman. Her silence wasn't arrogance, it was razor focus. But to the room, it looked like defiance. Her mind flickered to another place, another life, a dusty war-zone street, air thick with heat and diesel. She was 20 then, rifle-strapped, moving through a checkpoint. Children ran beside them, begging for candy. She'd tossed a piece to one grinning boy before her sergeant's voice cut her back to task. The memory pressed into her chest as she stood now in Lucille, but she buried it, her hands steady, her senses sharp. This wasn't a battlefield, but her body remembered. The second robber, lanky and twitching, snapped back into rage. "You think you're a hero, bitch?" he screamed, charging wild. Gun still clutched, but aim sloppy. Steps frantic. The crowd didn't cheer. They recoiled, turning against her. Candace shrieked from behind a chair. "She's going to get us killed!" Hands trembling around her purse. Greg, the manager, red-faced and trembling, barked, "Stand down, Anna!" "Let the cops handle this," Derek muttered from the floor. "She's insane." Even sobbing, Lauren spat, "She's nobody. She's ruining everything." Anna ignored them. She ducked beneath his swing, spun, and drove her heel into his gut. He crashed backward through a glass table, shards exploding with a violent crack. Half the room flinched at the sound. A woman in a golden dress rose halfway, earrings swaying like chandeliers, her voice sharp with disdain. "Who does she think she is? Some action star?" Though trembling, her words cut. "She's performing, and we're paying the price." Her husband, thick-set with a Rolex, nodded. "She's reckless. A waitress shouldn't play hero." Anna's hand brushed the edge of the table where her tray rested, but she didn't answer, didn't turn. The hostility pressed heavy, resentment pounding like waves. They didn't see valor. They saw a nobody crossing the line. The third robber was different, patient, cold. He drew a knife, its blade catching chandelier light, and stalked forward. "You're dead!" he growled, lunging low. Anna slid aside, movement fluid, practiced. Her hand caught his wrist, twisting until the knife spun into her grip. Using his momentum, she slammed him hard to the floor. His skull struck with a dull thud. It ended in 15 seconds. 3 men down, writhing or unconscious. Silence swallowed the room. Anna stood tall above them, knife in hand, breathing barely heavier than before. Her eyes were steel, sharp enough to slice through the air itself. Then from the corner, a silver-bearded guest rose shakily, his suit crumpled from crawling. He jabbed a finger toward Anna, his voice loud enough to slice through the silence. "She's dangerous. You saw how she moved." His wife clutched her diamond bracelet tight, nodding frantically. She's not one of us. Maybe she's with them. The accusation hung in the air, absurd yet poisonous. Heads turned, murmurs spread. Anna lowered the knife slowly, deliberately setting it on the table, her movements controlled, as if proving she wasn't a threat. Her eyes flicked to the man, just for a second. His bravado withered instantly, his shoulders collapsing under her steady gaze. Minutes later, police stormed in, radios crackling, boots heavy against the marble. They cuffed the groaning robbers and dragged them out, but the tension in the room remained. Guests climbed from hiding, voices buzzing in frantic chatter, though the whispers about Anna never ceased. A man in a pinstripe suit leaned toward his date. Tie crooked, voice sharp. Maybe she's a criminal herself. Normal people don't fight like that. Greg, still sweating, stormed over, his face twisted. What the hell was that, Anna? What have you been hiding from us? His voice was loud, accusing, as if she'd betrayed him by refusing to be helpless. Candace, fussing with her hair, piled on. She's trouble. I knew it the second I saw her. Anna didn't answer. She kept stacking glasses, her face unreadable, her hands steady. Then one officer stopped short, a grizzled man with a buzz cut, a scar dragging across his cheek. His radio lowered, his eyes went wide. My God! Sergeant Anna Carter, I thought you were gone. The room froze. Every head swiveled. Anna gave a single nod, her voice low but clear. I only wanted a normal life. The officer shook his head slowly, a faint smile breaking through. Navy Special Forces, counterterrorism. You trained with my unit back in 18. Saved my life in Kabul. The crowd's faces shifted like dominoes. Richard's jaw tightened. Candace's eyes widened. Derek stared at the floor. Lauren fidgeted with her earrings, her laugh erased. Anna didn't add another word. She didn't need to. As officers secured the scene, a woman in a silk scarf crept toward Anna, hands trembling. She held out a crumpled napkin. You drop this, she whispered. It was the same napkin Anna had tucked in her apron earlier. The woman's wide eyes carried not scorn but awe. Anna accepted it, her fingers brushing lightly against hers, and gave a small nod. Thank you, she said softly, voice steady. The woman hesitated before retreating, her husband pulling her close with a muttered word that lowered her gaze. It was the first kindness of the night, small, but heavy. Anna tucked the napkin back into her apron, her expression unchanged. Yet the judgment lingered. As the police hauled the robbers away, a loosened tie businessman leaned back, scoffing. At the end of the day, she's just a waitress. Nobody will believe she saved us. Candace dabbed at wine stains, sneering. She got lucky. Nothing more. Richard nodded grimly, his voice sharp. She's still nobody. Doesn't change a thing. Their pride was bruised, their egos cracked. To admit Anna saved them meant admitting they'd been wrong, and people like them never did. Anna heard it all. She didn't flinch. She kept stacking plates, her hands as steady as ever. During cleanup, Greg cornered her, face blotched red, anger spilling. You could have gotten us sued, he spat, waving his hands wildly. Think you're some vigilante? You're fired, Anna. Get your things. Go. The room quieted instantly, eyes snapping toward them. Anna set down her stack of plates with deliberate calm. You certain about that? She asked, voice low, gaze unblinking. Greg faltered, bravado thinning under her stare, but he pressed on. You heard me. Out. A few guests smirked, Richard among them, as if her dismissal confirmed their contempt. Anna didn't argue. She simply picked up her tray and walked toward the back, each step loud in its silence. Then James Colton rose, the billionaire who had spoken not a word all night. His eyes had followed Anna with measured calm, his expression unreadable. Now he straightened his suit and crossed the floor, the room holding its breath. He stopped before her, presence looming like thunder. I don't see a waitress, he said, voice low, but carrying across every corner. I see the only one here who kept her nerve. He extended his hand. Anna looked at it, then at him. Calm, searching before shaking firmly, eyes steady. "From today," Colton declared louder, "she is my corporation's new head of security." Gasps and murmurs surged. Richard's jaw slackened. Candace dropped her glass, spilling wine. Derek's face flushed red as he looked away. From behind the bar,